I'm Cody Landels. In less than 4 years, I built and scaled a roofing company from the ground up to over $20 million in annual revenue, and then successfully sold it. Now I'm on a mission to share what I've learned while documenting my journey to scale Reimagine Roofing to $100 million in annual revenue. Whether you're an entrepreneur looking to scale a service business or a sales rep ready to sharpen your skills, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. All right, cool. So let's get into the framework. So how I like to think about this is there's 5 reasons that somebody is not doing what you want them to do. Whether that's a sales rep, whether that's, a production manager, the front office staff, whoever it is, whatever that is, that task in your mind that's not getting done correctly or at the right speed. There's going to be 5 reasons that they are not doing that. And if we can identify those 5 reasons, check all the boxes, then the only remaining reason is just willful insubordination, which then makes it easy that, hey, we're just going to go straight to termination, or maybe a write-up, and then if you do it again, it's termination. All right. So first reason is they didn't know what you wanted done. So this is common. There's a lot of times that we bring somebody into a new position and we expect them to do things that you may say is common sense. It's like, hey, you didn't pick up the trash while you're at the job site as a new project manager. Oh, I didn't know I was supposed to, and so we always need to make sure we're very explicit with what the expectation is, whether it's a checklist, or just letting them know that, hey, moving forward, you are responsible. If you're on a job site and you're doing, you're the project manager, you are supposed to pick up trash as you walk around the site. So that's the first one. They didn't know what you wanted done. All right. The next one is they didn't know how you wanted it done. Hey, Andrew, see you just hopped on. Just give you a quick rundown of what we're going over today is a framework of having hard conversations and establishing accountability. So appreciate you hopping in. All right. So you didn't know, they didn't know how you wanted it done. Okay. So let's continue with that example, and then we'll talk about a sales example as well. So, hey, I didn't know that I was supposed to pick up trash. Well, then you tell them, hey, as a project manager, if you're on the job site and you walk around, you want to make sure that there is a clean job site. And then maybe they don't run a nail magnet because you didn't explain to them how you clean a job site. On our standards is you maybe a first walk around where you pick up all the trash and then you run a nail magnet around to make sure we get all the nails. Maybe it's in sales. If in the sales, you say, hey, I expect you to sell, 100K a month or 50K a month, whatever that is. That's the what you wanted done. And then the how is that you're going to go knock X amount of doors, or you're going to go, follow this presentation, or you're going to do whatever it is. But we need to make sure once they know what to do, they also want to know how to do it, because there's 10 ways to do any activity. So if we're clear on what they want and clear on how to do it, then we can go to the next one, which is they didn't know when you wanted it done by. All right. So I wanted you to clean the job site. I want you to also run to clean a job site. You're going to do a walk around picking up trash, and then you're going to do a nail magnet around there. And then they don't go out there and do it today because, well, I didn't know you wanted it done today. I was actually going to go tomorrow morning. So one of the things that we've really, really implemented in my company is that every direction or every, task always comes with a deadline. Please reach out to this lead via phone and text by 10 a.m. today. All right. Because again, if you just give somebody a lead and they're like, well, I didn't know you wanted me to call them, I was just going to maybe go stop by there. And then maybe they just call. Like in our business, it's always call and text. You never just call, like if they don't answer. So maybe they didn't know how I wanted them to reach out. So I want you to reach out via call and text, and then you put the time component on there. If I want you to reach out via call and text by or within the next hour, or by 10 a.m. or, something specific there, rather than saying soon. We want to avoid these terms that don't mean anything, because your soon is not the same as my soon. Later this week, not a good term. What does later this week mean? Could be Thursday, could be Friday, could be Wednesday. And so it's really important that we put clear time constraints on it. And this is whether with employee or a crew, but also we do this with homeowners too. We found a ton of success that, hey, we are going to do X by Wednesday at 4 p.m. Hey, we're going to come out and fix that drip edge, not later this week. We're going to come out and fix that drip edge, by, Tuesday at 4 p.m. or by the end of day Tuesday or whatever that is. So throw that time component in there as well. Then the fourth thing, so 5 reasons why somebody's not going to do what they're supposed to do. The fourth one is it isn't incentivized or punished. All right. So if I tell you, hey, I need you to reach out to this lead via call and text by, within the next hour by 10 a.m. and you don't do it, and then I just give you another lead, and then I give you another lead, and you keep not doing it, guess what? You're reinforcing that it doesn't matter. So you can either incentivize it or you can punish it. A great punishment is, hey, if this doesn't happen, you will eventually get fired. A very powerful motivation is people don't want to get fired. Or in sales, hey, you're not going to get any more leads, or hey, if you do this, then you're going to get a $50 bonus if it's a review or whatever it is. Either there needs to be some clear incentive and clear punishment so they know exactly that if this doesn't happen, then this is the outcome, and so that they have some vested interest. And again, it doesn't have to be a complex. It could be, hey, this is part of your job responsibility. If you don't do X, then you're going to get written up, and if you don't do it again, you're going to get fired. It could be that simple. All right, and then the fifth and final reason that somebody is not doing what you want them to do, so one of your subordinates is not doing what you want to do, is that someone or something is blocking them. Okay, and this can be really, really evident, especially if you have somewhat of a larger organization. Like, let's say in my organization, I might be the CEO, and then I have a director of ops, and I say, hey, the people below the director of ops, I really need you to do X. But that director of ops isn't giving them the time or the opportunity or the tools. So that's kind of the final thing is someone or something, whether, hey, we don't have the technology, or you told me to reach out to Jim by 10 a.m., but there's no phone number in the CRM. Oh, okay. Makes sense. You can't reach out without a phone number. Or there's some layer that's blocking them. All right. So those are the 5 reasons that somebody will not do what you want them to do, other than willful insubordination. So just to recap on that, they didn't know what you wanted done. So you didn't give a clear instruction of exactly what you wanted done. They didn't know how you wanted it done. They didn't know when you wanted it done by. There's no incentive or punishment, or someone or something is blocking them. All right. So if we can check all these boxes and give this clear instruction, whether it's to a virtual assistant in the Philippines, which we use a ton of, or it's to your VP that you think should be a high-level operator, and should be able to make, understand exactly what's going on in your brain. It doesn't matter how high up the chain or low on the chain it is. If we can give these clear instructions, this will guarantee that we now can make a decision. Are you choosing not to listen to me? Which then it becomes easy to punish. And this is kind of around this whole theme that, I see all the time in roofing companies, my company included, is that when I first started off, my second and third employees were friends. My eighth and ninth employee might have, my brother works for me, my older brother nonetheless, which adds another little dynamic to it. We got friends of friends. And so it's sometimes hard to have these hard conversations because there's all this like emotion in there. If you map this out black and white, these 5 items, then the only other, and I'll repost them for people that just joined because I don't think the chat always shows up. The only other thing it could be is because you are blatantly choosing not to listen to me. And then what it does for you as a leader is that if somebody just straight up says, I'm not going to listen to you, I don't care who you are. All right, great. It's super easy to fire you. It's hard to have those conversations when someone's like, man, I'm trying so hard. The hardest conversation in the world is I'm trying so hard and I'm putting in 50 hours a week. I'm doing everything. But their output is absolutely terrible, right? It's like, you are the biggest problem in our business. And yes, you're trying super hard. And yes, you're my cousin. That is the tough conversation. So what this does is this allows you to direct it in that effort in the right direction. And what I always tell people, the analogy to the person that says they're trying really hard to help them understand this is, if you go out and dig a hole 10 hours a day in the middle of the desert, that is really hard. But it does nothing for us at Reimagine Roofing. That doesn't help me at all. So just because you're out there every day working really hard doesn't mean it's actually positive. because you could just be out there just digging a hole in the middle of the desert. Like that would be hard work. Your hands would hurt. You'd be tired, but that doesn't help us as a company. I can't pay you to dig a hole. So that's an analogy I let them understand. And then we just set very clear, do you know what we want done, how we want it, when? Here's the incentive, here's the punishment. And so then the cadence I use to then establish this is I like to do one-on-ones. And when I'm establishing accountability, the more frequent, the shorter that we've been working together. So if you're a new employee and I'm your direct supervisor, I'm doing one-on-ones twice a week. And this is going to do a couple things. One, and how I recommend to do the one-on-ones is either do it in a Google Doc or like on a tablet or something that's a running thing. So like a Google Doc, you can see, hey, here's what we typed last week. Here's what this week. And this allows us to have a very black and white, take all the emotion out of it and say, hey, last week or Monday, let's say today's Thursday, Monday, I told you that I wanted you to call these 3 leads by this time, exactly, with a call and text, or else, you weren't getting leads for the rest of the week. All right, let's go see. Okay, today's Thursday. Hey, look, Joe, you didn't call these 3 leads within that hour. So that means now for the next week, you'd get no more leads. Does that make sense? Is that clear? Is that fair? Yeah, it's fair. Okay, awesome. Great. Easy conversation. I told you exactly what was going to happen. You didn't do what I asked. So I'm going to do exactly what I said I was going to do. And guess what, Joe? If this happens again, next time you're going to be terminated. It's outside of our standards. Is that clear? Awesome. And I would highly encourage that you, if it is a severe grievance, that you do a write-up. I can't tell you how many times that a write-up has changed. It triggers something in the person's brain that, that this is now, we're not friends. And maybe it doesn't come from you, it comes from their supervisor, but somebody writing them up lets them know that, hey, this is a real job and not just a place that we hang out and basically burn the company's money. All right. So then if you're doing it twice a week, then you can go to, once a week, then once every 2 weeks. And you can kind of, as they build up trust, you can elongate the time period that you're meeting, with that person. All right. And one other quote that I heard the other day that I really, really loved on this topic, it said that, business isn't a family, it's a team. And the difference is when you're in a family, if your brother becomes an alcoholic, you still support him and you still love him. If somebody at your job becomes an alcoholic, you fire them. So there's a difference. A business is a team, not a family, because there's certain things that a team will not put up with that a family has to put up with. And I think having that mindset can really, really help because, like I said, with my business, we're very close knit. I kind of try to build a family atmosphere. And, we said, hey, we're a family. And then that comes back to bite you sometimes when you let people get away with stuff, because you're a family that shouldn't happen in a team environment or in a professional environment or in business environment. The big thing is just having, a sit down conversation, just say, hey, look, and what I just told him, like, cause there was a little bit of friction at one point. I was just like, hey, no matter what happens, like, I'm going to love you. You're going to be my brother. Like we're going to still be awesome. But out of respect to everybody else here, we have to have the same standard. And when I framed it like that, he's like, yeah, of course. I don't want to be treated special. Very, very few people in the world want to be treated special. Like nobody wants to feel like they're the getting special treatment, or like everybody wants to feel like they've earned their way into something. And so if you can frame it like that, that resets the stage, just that simple statement. And then we come right back in here. It's right back into this framework of, so with that in mind, every other project manager, I expect them to do X. I expect them to do it in this way. I expect them to do it once a week. And if they don't, they get written up. And if they don't do it again, then they get fired. So I just walk them straight through this framework again. And then I just ask, hey, is there any reason that you can't, pick up trash while you're on the job site? Is there any reason you can't run a nail mag? Nope. Okay. So you know exactly now what you need to do, how to do it, when to do it, and what happens if you don't do it. Correct? Yes. Okay. Awesome. Great. Excited. Let's go knock it out. And then they decide, now that everything is 100% clear, are they going to go be a good employee or are they going to go be a bad employee? And then if they go be a bad employee, then the next conversation is like, hey man, we talked last week, because now we're doing another one-on-one the following day, right? We're like, hey, I talked last week. I asked you to do this, and Here's the exact instance where you didn't do it. You know, on Bob Jones, 123 Main Street, here's the photo, or here's the update in CRM, or whatever, or you didn't do your update in the CRM, or whatever it is. Like, have it in black and white, like you were supposed to do X, here's X, and it's not done, right? Okay, awesome. Clear as day. You didn't do what was supposed to be done. Great. So remember last week I told you if you didn't do that, I was going to write you up. All right, well, here's your write-up. Okay, cool. Awesome. Sounds great. Look, I really want you to be here. I really love working with you. But I just want you to know 100% clear, out of fairness to everybody else in the company, if you don't do X again, when we come back and meet next week, we'll have to let you go. It's out of fairness to everybody else. Sound good? Cool. Awesome. Great. And then we agree. Next day comes along. And if it's same thing, hey, here's X number 2. You still didn't do it. Remember I told you last week, if you didn't do it, you're terminated. Hey man, sorry, you're terminated. No hard feelings. You know, it's nothing emotional here. It's just, you know, clearly black and white. I told you how to do X, you didn't do it, and so now we got to terminate you. You know, and that's what I mean by being able to make hard conversations easy. That conversation's super easy. Like, and you'll feel a shift in your mind. It's never like it's never a hard conversation anymore, because it's like, look, I literally told you this. You told me yes, and now I'm just being a man of my word. Like, I told you I'd bring you back in here and write you up if you didn't, and you didn't. So, and that becomes really easy to do. Versus like, oh, I think you're doing bad. Oh, you're just not performing up to the other project managers. Like, oh, what do you mean? You've always said that. You never believed in me. Like, then all this emotion comes out. You know, it's like, if it's black and white, and then you have to have the tangible things that's not being done. You know, whether it's you didn't update in the CRM, you didn't, you know, take photos. I told you minimum 30 photos, right? This job right here has 22. Makes sense that you didn't hit the standard? Yes. Okay, great. If you don't hit the standard again, you're going to get written up. Next week, hey, look, this job is 25 photos. Remember I told you 30, right? Okay, great. I'm going to write you up. Cool. Awesome. Like, it really, really makes those hard conversations easy, because it triggers something different in your brain from emotional to rational. It's just black and white. Great question though. All right. What other questions do we have? Anybody else want to chime in, or anybody else have dealt with this in your guys' business? And has this been a struggle? I know a lot of people mention it in the circle. Anybody else got any thoughts on it, or any other thing they want to chime in before I kind of move to the next point? Oh, we got someone joining. All right, cool. All right, so then just my framework for the weekly one-on-ones, because at the end of the day, or like I said, I would start off bi-weekly in their first, you know, maybe even Monday, Wednesday, Friday, if they're super green. You know, the more frequently you meet, the less chance you have. And then the key again is making sure it's a running doc. I really do not recommend doing notebooks. Notebooks get lost. You know, the pages get whatever. I mean, if you want to do like a employee file folder, as long as you can every single time find that same thing, and it's a building doc. So what on the weekly one-on-ones, very similar to the feedback on very like role playing that Adam talks about. So we always start off as, what did you do good? So like, what have you done good this week? What are some of your highlights? You know, oh, I closed this huge sale. Oh, I generated a lead next to Susan. Oh, I got a 5-star review. Whatever. Like, let's build the positive first, and then ask them, you know, what can you improve on, or what do you want to improve on? And this doesn't. I like to use the term "what do you want to improve on" rather than "what did you do bad." So, like, you know, a lot of people say, "What you do good? What you do bad?" You know, and I don't always want it to for them to try to rack their brain, like, "Oh, that one job, you know, I showed up 15 minutes late." I want them to more think about, I want to improve on my punctuality, or they might have done everything great, and I want to improve on my knowledge. You know, I want to get, you know, go from OSHA 10 to OSHA 30, or I want to improve on my sales ability. So I want to sit in some sales training, or, you know, whatever it is. But I like the framing of it. What do you want to improve on, rather than what did you do bad? Because if you say what you did bad, it forces them to think of something bad, and then it kind of brings the energy level down, and it's not forward looking, versus like, hey, I want to improve on my punctuality because last week I was XYZ. All right. And then we want to, you know, document it exactly what they want to improve on. And then we want to follow this same framework that we just laid out. Okay, great. You want to improve on your sales knowledge. So that's what you want done. How do you want to do it? Do you want to watch YouTube videos? Do you want to get on the roof strategist? Whatever. So then when do you want it done by? So okay, I want to improve on my sales training by watching 4 YouTube videos by the end of the week. Whatever that is. And then how do we incentivize it? All right, great. If you do that, or if you do it over the next 30 days, you will start getting leads, or you'll start getting bigger leads, or I want to improve on being able to sell metal roofs. Okay, great. How I'm going to do that is I'm going to meet with the local manufacturer and get certified as with them, and I'm also going to watch 10 YouTube videos over the next 30 days and get all of my vocabulary 100% up to where it needs to be. And then great, if you do that, we will incentivize you by now providing you metal roof leads. All right. All right, cool. And so that's what they want to. And then next is you go. So then you'll say, hey, what did they do good? Hey, last week you really crushed it on this. You really did this. You want to have something tangible. I try to stay away from you've been working really hard. Because they like what psychologists talk about. Same thing with like children. If you tell your child, oh, you're so awesome for being smart, or for doing good on a test versus being smart. If you tell them that, you're so awesome for being smart, they don't know what that means. And so you're incentivizing something that's abstract. And so they're always kind of on edge. Am I smart? What does that mean? But if you say, hey, great job on studying for that test and getting a 95%. So now they start building, oh man, I did good by studying. You start building that positive loop of studying is good. And then that helps me get a good grade. So same thing with an employee. You don't want to just say, hey, good job on working hard. I really appreciate you putting in that extra hour, from 5 to 6 on the Bob Jones job, doing that final cleanup even after it got dark. And he left us a 5-star review. So great job on that. That's the way to put some, care into your project management. And it really showed, or great job making that big sale, or great job, winning that adjuster meeting, or whatever it is. Try to make it a concrete event, rather than a generic, like you're doing really good. All right. Same thing on then what do you want to improve on? Again, you want to make it something concrete and follow that same formula up above that said, you didn't know what you wanted done. So I want you to improve on X. Here's how I want you to improve on it. Here's when I want you to improve on it. Here's your incentive. All right. And then we document that as well. And again, if they've been here shorter amount of time, we want to make the things to improve on smaller. I really want you to master your shingle vocabulary by the end of the week. Best way to do that is watch these 2 YouTube videos that I sent to, and also with these flashcards that we provide as well. Okay. And once you have that done by the end of the week, you can start running leads solo. Something like that. All right. But again, the shorter time they've been here, try to make those wins smaller. Don't stretch them out 60 days when they've only been at the company 3 days. Because it doesn't give us a chance to check back in and make sure that we're checking those boxes of achievement. All right. And then I like to do the 3 or 4 F's depending on your company. The 3 F's and then the optional 4th. I always like to do family, fitness, financial. And then the optional 4th is faith. So I know if that's something that's in your company, you can talk about faith as well, or general spirituality. That is kind of an optional 4th, but family, fitness, financial. Now, the value of this is, especially when you first start, tell me a little about your family. Well, now you're building this running dog. Okay, my wife, Susan, I got 2 kids, 4 and 6. So then when you come back next week, you have the doc right there. Hey, how's Susan doing? Oh, little Johnny, did he have a good baseball game? And it allows you to start learning your employees on a deeper level that makes them feel more connected as well. Fitness, I do both mental and physical. Do they have any fitness goals? Do they have any mental health goals? Like, how are they feeling? Are they stressed? Are they this? Et cetera. And then financial. We're halfway through the month. Are you your sales number? What is your goal for the next 30, 60, 90 days? I'm trying to get 1 sale by this date, whatever it is, but it allows us then to still do the same framework as above. If it's a financial goal, what do you want done? How do you want to do it? When do you want it done by? And the incentive is that you're going to be happy, right? Or you're going to be able to go take a vacation, or you're going to be able to, pay your bills or do whatever. All right. So quick recap on that. All right. So they're going to do what did you do? What did you improve on? They'll go first. Then you will also do what did you do good? What did you improve on? Key here being document in a running doc. Google Docs are great for that. Or if you have a tablet where you go back to the same sheet every time, again, strongly recommend not doing a notebook, because if you're anything like me, you'll have 3 notebooks. You won't be able to find it. You'll go to sit down with them at 8 o'clock for the scheduled time. You're flipping through pages, and then you're going to get like a little flustered, and you're like, all right, well, let's just start new. Well, guess what? That means now we've just established that we're not going to hold them accountable for the things they told us last week or 2 days ago or whatever, however the last check-in was. And versus with this, it's like you can just show them like, hey, last week you said you wanted to improve on this, and you said you were going to do this. You said you were going to do it by this time, and you haven't done it. What gives? And that allows you to build that consistency of accountability. All right. Cool. And then the final thing that we touch on to kind of wrap it up, to make it personal as well, as the 3 or 4 F's: family, fitness, and financial, with the optional of faith, if that's something that speaks to you guys or makes sense in your business. And again, that same framework that we had at the very top can be used for all of these goals. Like, hey, I want a better relationship with my wife. Okay, how do you want to do that? Well, I'm going to try to be home by X amount of time, or I'm going to try to remember her birthday, which is coming up in a week, or I'm going to try to do X. I'm going to try to be more present with my kids. Okay, how do you want to do that? Well, when I get home, I'm going to try to put my phone away. Okay, great. When do you want it done by? Well, this week, my goal is going to do at least 2 days without my phone when I get home. Okay, great. And the incentives, you're going to have a better relationship with your child. Awesome. Next week comes, hey, how's the being more present when you get home going? Did you put the phone aside 2 days? And then you can just check back in and help them build their goals across the family, the fitness, and the financial. Andrew, appreciate that as well. Cool. All righty, guys. That's all I got. The recording will be posted later. A little bit shorter session, but I think it was really impactful and powerful for a lot of people. And hopefully you guys got something out of it. I'll talk to everybody later. Have a good one.